Welcome back. So I thought maybe I will do one more Lambda function API gateway in DynamoDB table setup, but this time it will be for comments. So what we covered in the other parts was for inserting like as a post request, right? API gateway in Lambda, and then we did another function which was load like, and this was actually a get API method. So we had the front-end code, the API gateway, get method, and then we had a Lambda function and then DynamoDB table. So for the comments, which we haven't done it, you might be wondering why she didn't cover the comments. I thought maybe let's just go with that as well. So I'm going to first create, I would say, DynamoDB table, and then after that, I'm going to be creating a Lambda function, and then I will create an API gateway and then integrate API gateway with Lambda function, and then we'll see how it goes from there, right? So I'm going to come here on the DynamoDB table, click on the tables, create table, and I would call it comment. No, it's actually story comments. I wanted to add a 2 at the end. And again, I wanted to show you maybe one more thing. So let me just go to the DynamoDB table. And I wanted to copy the same setup as I did for the other one. So I want to go back to the tables. Story comments is this one. I wanted to explore table items. Click on one of those stories, right? So here we go. I have the partition key as the story ID, and I have the comment ID as the start key. So I wanted to add the same thing. And then when it comes to content comment or content snippets or comment snippets, it doesn't matter. Located at the timing is key and username. Those will be created through the Lambda function code. You can actually manually add attributes like that, or what you can do, you can do a Lambda function code that actually add those attributes to the DynamoDB table. So I will do the story ID as this, and then the comment ID as a start key. So let me just do the same thing. For the partition key, I can put story ID, and the start key, I can put comment ID. Both of them are strings, yes. And I wanted to not touch anything else in its default. So this thing is being created. So you know what? I'm going to go to the Lambda function, and I want to create a new Lambda function. So this one is actually called loadComment, and then the one that I'm going to create is actually loadComment 2, right? So because just to keep things kind of a different name but similar, I want to go here and I want to create a new function. Function would be called loadComment2. Wanted to go with Python. And then again, I'm going to make sure this time I actually update the role policies. If I don't, it will not work again. And I create the function. I'm not doing anything else in there. So let me just go to, here you go. It's being created. And now I wanted to come to the code section. I simply wanted to add the code from there, but I have to make sure that the comment, this table name is being updated as well. So I come back here, it is my, loadComment2. So I wanted to change the DynamoDB table name as well in here. So I want to find the name, here it goes. So I wanted to change this name to story comments 2. Yeah, it's all good. I want to see if there is anything else I have to change. I think so I don't need to do anything else. And you see those attributes that I mentioned to you. So comment ID, username, created at, and content, and also content, which is the comment snippet. That's what it's being mentioned here in the code, right? So I wanted to show you one more thing. It might be in another function, so let's just leave it here. For now, let's just test it and see how it works. If it didn't work out, this means something is missing. But anyways, I wanted to deploy it. And also from here, I wanted to go to the test. I want to copy and paste. I know this test event is a bit longer. But anyways, I have to copy this thing. And I want to go to the test part of it, call it test on. It doesn't matter what name you give to it. I did this thing, and now I also have to change, I would say, the story, if there is the name of the table, DynamoDB table, I have to change it, but because it was load comment, story ID, story number 10. I don't have story number 10. I don't have any comments actually in there, so it might or it might not work because my comments are actually being added to the backend in S3 through uploading it to S3, right? So and that's actually happening through the front end code. So I don't want it to create another front end code to run it separately. That would be too much. But still, let's see if it works. If it gives me a status code 200, this means it tells me that there is no comment. If there's no comment, so there is no comment. Or maybe I can actually manually go and enter those things in there. If it didn't work out, then I will try to retrieve it and see if it's actually there. So I want to save this one. Okay, so comment D, and then what else? I think it's all good. So it's a test. It doesn't matter much. So even right now, the test wouldn't work because we haven't created the API gateway yet. So I want to go to the API gateway. And I am actually at Story Likes API 2. I have the comment section already created. Now within this comment section, I wanted to actually create a new resource, and that resource would be called load comment. I think it's just called the load comment. I wanted to do exactly the same name, right? I didn't want it to go with a different name, so I want to put that one in there. So always make sure you check off the cross-origin resource sharing. You did that. Awesome. And then now within this created the resource, now you go and create a method. And it's actually a get method. It's a Lambda. And the Lambda name is loadComment2. Make sure this thing is Lambda proxy integration on. And then you create the method, right? So now you did create the method. You go to integration request. You see the loadComment Lambda function is actually in there. I want to refresh. Oh, I didn't deploy the API. So once you create it, you do have to deploy it because sometimes it might not work. So I did deploy it. That's good. I want to go back to the Lambda function, and I wanted to refresh this entire page. And I hope I'm getting the API trigger in here. Yes, I do. I click on it, and here you go. Now this is the URL, and this is actually a get method, right? Now what we're left with is to test it if it works. So I would think it might not work because I don't have any comments in my backend. But I hope at least it gives me a 200 code. If it doesn't, so it doesn't. It gives me a 500 code because I actually error fetching comments because I don't have any comments in there. Let me do something, right? So in here I have different, I'm just going to add one comment section in there. So almost going exactly with the same, I would say, setup in here. But before that, I want to check one more thing, and that was actually, I have two different Lambda functions. One is load comment, another one is load comment count. So this is, okay, it doesn't matter actually. Since I'm doing just one Lambda integration API, I don't want it to go with the Lambda, the comment count. I'm just doing the comment content. So actually the actual content, this one. So I'm going to do a similar thing. So this is what it is. I'm going to go back to, I think, okay, so I have added these things. Let me just at least add this very same comment ID. It doesn't matter, right? So I want to go to my explore table items. I don't have any items. I'm going to create an item. So the first thing I'm just going to copy paste this entire thing here. So copy this one here. I'm adding this thing. and then I'm gonna to add this word, same thing here, date, and then I wanted to add some attributes. It's actually a string type, and it's called content snippet. So I'm gonna copy this thing, add a new attribute, is a string type, call it this this thing, oops, this thing, and then the value should be this thing. So I just want to add it here. The next one is also a string, and it's called created add. I'm going to add one more attributes, call it the string again, called created add. Go back here, and I take this thing. And then the next one is actually a streaky. It's a string as well. So I will go with that. One more attribute, it's a string. I hope this setup works, but again, if it doesn't work, it simply means that since I actually don't have the oh my god, what did I do? I have to copy this thing. This means that the front-end code is not in here, so this this might not work, but it's the similar thing. I'm just kind of loading the comments. So it's a get API method, and it's similar to you fetching the likes from the backend. It's me fetching the comments from the backend, but since there was an S3, I added the text to S3. It's not working. It's not a big deal, but the setup and everything is the same. If you have a code and front-end integration and everything all set up, it might work out. So one last thing is the username. So I wanted to, let's see one more thing. All of them are strings, so it doesn't matter. So I wanted to create one more attribute. It's again string. It's called username. And then I wanted to just copy this thing as well in here. Awesome. So now I wanted to create this item. So at least now I have one comment, right? So now I wanted to retrieve the text for story number 9. For story number 9, I have to go back to this thing. I wanted to go to the test event, and I want to change the story 10 to story number 9, right? Let me just see how many more stories. I have it in another place as well. So I want to change this number to, because I don't have a story 10 at there. I only have story 9. So I have story, this is another place. Yeah, this is good. This is changed. Story ID, story 9, that's good. There is no other place I have to change this. It's a get method. And I think so. The rest of it should be fine. I want to save it. And then let me just run the test. Oh my god, it actually worked. Or it actually didn't work out. I'm not sure why it showed me green, but now it gives status of 500, right? And then error fetching the comments, right? So again, that might have been the reason. And it's okay if it didn't work out, right? But an error occurred, access denied exception when calling. So here's the thing now. It has to now be connected to S3, and this specific Lambda function doesn't have access to S3, right? So if it doesn't have access to S3, is actually when this Lambda function is being called, it talks both to S3 bucket, and it also talk to, I would say, DynamoDB table. So I'm going to do one more thing. I wanted to go to permissions, and I'm going to go to this role and add, I would say, here you go. I actually even haven't added the DynamoDB table policy. So now my mistakes can help you to make sure you always add your roles in there. So I wanted to add a DynamoDB table first. I will test it if it's going to work or not work. Didn't work, then I'm going to test with adding an S3 policy and see how it works. So first thing first, I don't want to add both of them. I want to see if it's the issue with the DynamoDB table access or if it's the issue with an S3 bucket. So I added this thing back to my code. I refresh it. And then I'm going to test it again and see how it's going to work. So let's test it. It's still giving me this thing. Now I'm gonna to add S3 bucket as well. So now I'm gonna go here. Wanted to put S3 full access. So that's awesome. I have added those things in there. But there might be something in here. Let me just go to my code as well, see if there is the name of the S3 bucket in here. So yes, I have S3 comment 2. Yes, I have added this in DynamoDB table, metadata. Actually, I'm going to leave it as it is. If it works, so it worked. If it didn't work, so it didn't work. So it still doesn't work. So the issue might not be just. So before it told me access denied. Now it doesn't give me that error. That's access denied. It says comment ID is an issue, right? And then let me see if in my DynamoDB table I have comment ID. No, it's correct. Or actually didn't save the changes. Oh my God, don't tell me this thing. Or oh no, that was a different one. Never mind. So this is actually actually saved and everything, comment ID and everything is correct. Once again, I'm assuming it's because of the front-end code that's not being added. So maybe in the future, I'll figure out if that was the issue or not, then I will share it to you. But again, the entire process is exactly the same. I'm going to leave you with this, and I'm going to be seeing you again in my coming sessions. Actually, I did wanted to figure out the issue that I had with the Lambda function that I just created in its testing. So eventually I again used ChatGPT. I give it my code, my test event JSON, and also I added the 2 screenshots just to say that was the problem that I was having. So it kind of gave me a few suggestions. And then I use those suggestions to kind of make the changes in my Lambda code. And now that actually gave me a status code 200, right? And then status code 200 means that it actually worked out. And then if you can see here, although it says that the item does not contain comment ID, and it was also, it was just because in here, I added a few of the suggestions that that ChatGPT gave me, right? Even before this change, it was grabbing the item, but it was not giving the comment, the entire thing about the result. For example, right now, it given is 3 buckets. So let me just do something like this. Hope it works so you can see this thing well, or maybe you don't, but it doesn't matter. But anyways, right, so if I go to maybe test here and then run a test again here, this might be good to actually give the test to 100. And also if you can see here now, it shows the item, found one item in DynamoDB, which is story 9, and actually is story 9 that we added, right? So this was story 9 that we added in this DynamoDB table. And it's gave me the username, that's correct, the creation date, that's right. And also the story comment, this entire thing, the content snippet, this is my 4th comment in everything. But anyways, so still it worked out. So we tested it. It works. That was the final Lambda function and for the comments. So that's it for now. If I wanted to go really quick, I would say walk through what we created in this app. That will be it. So first part, we did user authentication and authorization. We used Cognito service for that. The second part was actually we did a content storage and delivery. We used S3 bucket, Cloud Contra 53. And then what we did next was for the users to like a story, posting a like was done through an API gateway, a post method, Lambda function in DynamoDB table. Then we did for loading likes, listing the users who liked it, loading user liked status, load comments, and load comment ID. Again, we created API gateway Lambda functions in DynamoDB table. The difference this time was it was a get method, above it was a post method. But for the exercise, what we covered was a load like, and also a load comment. Those are the two functions or the two setup that we created. So I hope it was helpful somehow. Have a lovely day. I'm going to leave you with that. I will be coming up with more videos like this. Have a good day. Bye-bye.